Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video we are talking about edema once again. Now I was extremely disappointed. I was just scrolling through Facebook. There are some of these succulent groups that I am in and I was seeing a lot of wrong advice being provided when it comes to edema. I was extremely disappointed. Now guys, I just want to urge to you guys, if you ever come across anything like this, if you have been watching my videos, if you are 100% or if you 100% agree with the knowledge that I provide, I would advise you to spread that knowledge and do not keep it to yourself. When you spread knowledge, that's the best thing that you can do, or that's the best thing that you can do for me, is by spreading this knowledge. Now when I was seeing these posts on Facebook, I am there in a couple of these groups of succulent groups, and when I was seeing the kind of advice that was being given to the person who has posted the problem, I was extremely disappointed because as they say, half knowledge is dangerous, and that's exactly what I was seeing and experiencing all this stuff. I don't even know if that is half knowledge, because that was completely wrong knowledge. I would say that was completely, I think those people might have not even kept succulents or are probably beginners and giving expert advice. That's completely wrong. When you're not sure about something, I always advise do not give any information. Now what I noticed is the person, there were like a couple of posts wherein people were posting about edema, and a lot of people were advising that it is fungus, it's mold, I don't know what not, it's some kind of an infestation, spray some insecticides, pesticides, and it was such a terrible thing to see. Now guys, remember, edema is not a infection, it's not a fungal infestation, it's not a fungal infection, it's not a rot, it's not mold, it's not a parasite, it's nothing to do with anything related with fungus. This is basically when your succulent, there are these cells inside the leaves. When these individual cells tend to absorb too much of moisture, they tend to, I don't know how to put it across, but it's like a balloon. The more you blow the balloon becomes bigger, and at one point of time the balloon is going to burst. That's exactly how these cells tend to work. They absorb so much of moisture that they can no longer hold, due to which they get damaged and ruptured. Now when these cells tend to get ruptured, this is what it's going to look like. Now this succulent was purchased a month back, and it had edema when I received it, and I'm absolutely okay with it, because I always feel it's a challenge to turn an unhealthy succulent into a healthy succulent, and I always take that as a challenge because I'm very confident about how to handle succulents. Probably if a person, a beginner, would have seen the succulent, would have definitely panicked and thought that there is some disease on this succulent. I wouldn't call edema as a disease, but it's a form of not having a proper watering schedule, due to which either you are watering too less, or then you go ahead and water a lot in one go, due to which the succulent is confused. So what happens is you tend to underwater the succulent a lot, and then all of a sudden you're just scared and you start watering it. Now during this time, remember, the succulent does not know when to stop absorbing water. The amount of water you're going to keep adding into the pot, the succulent will keep absorbing that water without stopping. Like how we tend to, if we are thirsty, we drink water. Once we are full, we are like done. We know that we do not need to drink any more water, but that's not the case with our beautiful succulents. They do not know when to stop absorbing water. They basically drink to their death. This is the literal term that I can give it to you. It's like drinking to death. They are going to absorb all of the water until they start getting rotted. Now this is the case what happens with edema. The cells inside the leaf don't know when exactly to stop. They absorb so much of water that they tend to burst, and then you get these blisters on your succulents which get ruptured. Now this succulent, as I said, was purchased a month back, and I didn't realize that I had not potted it completely. Now because it was not potted, I had just left it on the soil. I didn't realize, I completely forgot. Having so many succulents, you tend to forget certain things. But the good part was that the succulent started to put out new roots, which is a big relief, especially when the succulent is dehydrated like this. It put out a lot of new roots, but you can see the amount of edema. Because I completely agree, they also tend to look like fungus and mold, because as and when they start to burst over the period of time, they start turning brown like this. And yes, it can easily pass off as fungus or mold, but you need to be extremely careful when you're dealing. Now this succulent was in a slightly bad condition when I received it, but as I said, it's always a challenge to grow beautiful succulents, and you can see now it's doing absolutely beautiful. Let me turn on the light. So now as you can see, it's looking absolutely beautiful. This is what I like about succulents. The more care you give them, tender loving care, and this is what it looks like. You can see the beautiful new growth, looks very fresh. It's been a month and a half and it's doing absolutely well, the new growth. So don't focus on the old growth, focus on the new growth. You can see it's doing absolutely beautiful. The colors are beautiful. Now edema will usually not it's not contagious. It's not going to pass on to your other succulents because it is not a fungal infection. It is not contagious. It will usually stay on the lower leaves, and the newer leaves will start growing much better. They won't have the edema. Even if if I'm going to propagate this leaf, the new pup that is going to come out will not have these scars. It's going to be a fresh start. Now the only reason behind this is because of not having a proper watering schedule, poor condition of succulents. Now definitely succulents do not need a lot of water to survive, but at some point of time they do need water to survive. They need water to grow. So you cannot keep them underwatered for a very long time. As we have spoken about this, there could be other issues as well apart from edema. Now I personally do not pull out these edema leaves. I let them be as it is. It kind of reminds me that how much of a fighter a succulent is, all the scars that stay on it, and I focus more on the new growth, which is absolutely beautiful right now. I am going to pot it completely into the soil. It was just lying on the soil, and the new roots have started to come up. So I'm not going to pull out any of the leaves. You do not need to pull out any of the leaves. You have to just leave the leaves as it is. So the whole purpose of making this video was, guys, please do not spray any insecticides, neem oil, pesticides. Remember guys, all of these insecticides, pesticides, they do contain an amount of oil which leaves a residue on the succulents. It leaves a film on the succulents. This makes it difficult for the succulent leaves to breathe during the time of photosynthesis. The stoma also of the succulent gets covered with the film. In fact, you might have noticed when you tend to have this oil on any surface, it tends to leave a film, a residue, and that's exactly what's going to happen for the succulent. Especially neem oil. A lot of people spray neem oil. It is going to create a film on the succulent leaves. Now imagine it was a very simple thing related with edema. You have done a wrong diagnosis. You have sprayed neem oil on the succulent and then the succulent starts to die, but you think that it was because of this edema that the succulent died, which is completely incorrect. So please do not do a wrong diagnosis to a succulent. It's like you having a fever and you're taking some other medication for that, which is not even related to the problem what you're facing. So that's how it is. Do not go for the wrong advice. You are going to kill your succulents. Succulents are very delicate. If you have the proper knowledge, then the succulents will definitely grow with you. They are going to be extremely easy plants. But then if you're going to do things like this, taking wrong advice and damaging your succulent further, a succulent with edema is not a sick succulent. It is just the wrong method of watering. The succulent is not sick. The edema does not affect the succulent in any form. It does not hamper the growth of the succulent. As you can see, there is a lot of new growth. It is not harming the succulent. That is why I leave the leaves as it is. It is not going to cause any harm to the succulent. So guys, I hope that this video on edema was helpful to you. I hope that you treat the succulent in the right way. Do not go for these unnecessary advice which is going to hamper your succulent. Just take care of your succulent. Do not stress over your succulents. Let them grow peacefully. Do not add in too much of organic matter. Do not overwater your succulents. Maintain a balance. Have a proper watering schedule. You feel that your soil is completely bone dry, go ahead and do a complete watering until the water starts passing through the drain hole. Do not mist the succulent leaves. Do not mist the top layer of soil. When the soil is completely dry, you have to water it completely. Misting the upper layer of soil will not help. The roots are still going to remain dry. That will again lead to edema, because after that when you're going to water it in one go, the succulent is going to absorb a lot of water in one go. It's basically like when you're thirsty, let's say that you're very thirsty and you start gulping water, what's going to happen next is you are going to choke on water. You can spit out the water, but the succulents cannot do it. Once they have absorbed too much of water, this is what's going to happen. They are either going to have edema or they are going to get overwatered and will have rot. So you have to be extremely careful. Maintain a proper watering schedule, and trust me, your succulents will do absolutely fine. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.